I first read Bronson, the book just Bronson, when I was about 21. I've obviously read about him in the newspapers and stuff like that, so I knew who he was. I read his biography a long, long time ago, before I got approached to play him. What attracted me to the film, Charlie, nothing else, just Charlie, you know. I don't care who wrote it, I don't care who filmed it, I don't care whether it was a play, I don't care whether it was, you know, like TV, you know, like for Channel 4 or BBC film, you know, it wouldn't matter to me. The only thing I'm interested in playing is Charlie and finding out about who Charlie is and, you know, what Charlie wants done with his piece, you know what I mean, and how I can cater to Charlie without being, you know, Charlie's puppet. My relationship with Charlie grew from phone calls. I remember he first called me up. He used to leave message after message on my answer about 3 years ago. He's left message with me, God, fucking hell, Tom, it's easy to get older fucking Santa Claus than you are. At the new Santa. He goes, oh, well, you know, everybody wants that. I'll call again. And he called us like, beep, message 18. And eventually he goes, yeah, I pick up the phone at 6 o'clock. He goes, oh, I gotcha. I fucking gotcha, ain't I? I said, Charlie. He goes, hello, mate. How you doing? I go, I'm good. He goes, what's going on? And I thought, and I'd just split up with my girlfriend at the time, and I thought, oh, well, do you know what? I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to fucking tell him straight, because, you know, break the ice. You know, I'm in a bit of a bad way at the moment. He goes, oh yeah, what's the matter? I go, yeah, I said, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm just not, you know, I'm just not comfortable. You know, I'm saying goodbye to somebody that, you know, that I really love, and I'm not happy. I'm not in a good space, and do you know what I mean? I can't be with a woman, and yet I can't be without one. And I realised that, you know, I probably have a relationship with my mother. Do you know what I mean? That is infused, you know, infiltrated all my relationships with women. I always find myself stuck in a triangle that I'm trying to break this pattern, and it's really painful. And it's like therapy 101. Charlie Bronson, the first time I ever spoke to him, you know, I find myself repeating the same pattern, expecting a different outcome, the insanity, you know. And I just need releasing from this, you know, like, I gotta release myself, I gotta do the work on it, you know, I don't know how to, blah, blah, blah. He goes, right. He goes, Tom. But yeah. He goes, do you remember the floods? When Oxford, he goes, yeah, the floods, do you remember the floods? So, yeah. He goes, do you remember that boy who got his foot stuck in a grate and the river kept rising? And he kept rising, and he kept rising, and eventually they tried to get him out, but he drowned. Yeah. He goes, well, that wouldn't have happened to me. Right? He goes, do you want to know why? I went, yeah, sure. He goes, because I'd have said, cut it off. Nah. Tom, what I'm trying to say is, right? What I'm trying to say is, son, is sometimes, yeah, you've got to cut a little piece of yourself off, yeah, no matter how much it hurts, in order to grow, yeah, in order to move on. Do you know what I mean? What are you having for your tea? I went, oh, I'm having a steak. He goes, oh, you can't. Because I fucking love a steak, mate. What's going on outside your window? I was like, fucking hell, this guy is dope. The first visit was really weird, you know what I mean? Because it was built up over 2 or 3 years I've been involved, you know what I mean? And I was starting, and it was like a deep breath out waiting to happen. So by the time I got to outside Wakefield prison, and handed in my passport and went to, you know, fingerprints and all that, and security, what struck me was how pedestrian it is to get in there. You know, it's like going to a municipal, like a building or a hospital, or, you know, the smell of hospitals, and you get, you know, public institutions tend to smell very similar. You know, it has that sort of slightly waxy, everything's slightly waxy and greasy and over the top of a, typical colours that you have in hospitals or prisons. You know, it's like pale greens, pale blues, and just like solid stone structures, and they encase. You know, it was just had the smell of a municipal building. It was quite pedestrian. It was just nothing like how Elector silence the lambs. You know, the long, you know, multiple MIGs in the cell next door flicking his sperm in the face of Clarice Starling in the dark, that little tin chair set up outside. It wasn't like that. It was, it was like going to an airport, onto an EasyJet, you know what I mean, or something like that. Doing your baggage security, dog comes and checks you, gates open, close, electric gates open, close. Eventually you're taken through the waiting room with all the, the visiting room where all the other inmates, are visiting their families, are visiting them, etc. You fill Charlie's tray up, you have to spend a tenner on him, and he likes his chocolate muffins and his strawberry and banana milkshakes, or, and his Galaxy and Jaffa cake muffins, and you fill 10 quid's worth of muffins, strawberry milkshakes, and he gets his tin of the flask of coffee with Charlie written on the front and gaffer tape, and you've got this school tray with all the lots of polystyrene cups, and they put give you loads of sugar for him, and all the screws, all the wardens, or whatever they're called, correctional facility officers, what are they called? Freaking guards. The Wakefield, they all know who you are when you walk in, because obviously he's a specific prisoner, isn't he? He's quite a special prisoner, Charlie, you know what I mean? Everybody knows he's there, and he's been there for years, and a lot of these people have been with him for years, and there are mixed views. A lot of them think he should be out, they don't think he should be there. People, I've never had anyone say, be rude. They always said, hello Tom, how are you? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Charlie's in good spirits this morning. It's almost like you're going to visit a patient in the hospital, you know what I mean? As opposed to, walking into, technically, probably the most dangerous wing on a prison we have in the country. It's more like walking in to visit your gran in hospital, if it wasn't for the keys and the locks and the dogs and the guards everywhere. You walk out the back of the building into the courtyard, and big chain fences, and then through the other doors, and then into a segregated sort of housing unit, which looks like a shoebox, flattened, squashed building, behind a big brick wall structure. And then as you go through the gates, there's a door there. You enter a small courtyard with cages, and that's where you'll probably see Bob Maudsley, the cannibal, walking round and round in circles, you know what I mean? Because they're allowed a certain amount of exercise a day, and they go and walk in circles on the yard, and there's a mural on that wall, and if you look up, there's 8 foot by 60 foot worth of sky, about 30 foot up in the air, and that's all the sky that they've seen in the years, And then you're faced with the main building, the shoebox building. You go into it, down some stairs, and you're with a guard, and there's about 4 or 5 guards meet you in there. And you're in a room the size of an entrance hall, but it's about the size of a normal bathroom. And on the right there is a bathroom. Straight ahead there's a door that leads onto the wing, and left there's another door that leads into the visiting room. And the visiting room is a cell in itself. So it's empty, there's no bed. It's a dungeon type cell, but it's painted similar to these kind of walls, that sort of, I wouldn't say magnolia, but it's sort of like magnolia with nicotine stain. Do you know what I mean? Then there's a dumb waiter, like a hole cut in the wall, which leads into another cell. And so you're sat in a cell now, and below the dumb waiter there's a table which is bolted to the ground, and 2 chairs that are bolted to the ground. And through the dumb waiter, which has which has bars on it and a plexiglass screen, is another cell, and that's when they bring Charlie in, and he appears, and like the first time I met him, he was so white, he was blue, so pale. The first thing that I noticed about him was the guy was like one of the fish that had been underwater for fucking years, it's like white, blue, pallor. Little purple spectacles on, massive moustache, big raised head, skin tight white t-shirt, with a little blue collar like the ones you had in PE in the 80s, and a pair of Reebok tracksuit trousers, Reebok classic sneakers on, and he's like the back end of a fucking great white shark, the way he moves, do you know what I mean? Forearms covered in hair and toes. Absolutely rigid still. He appears from one side, like a TV screen, the dumb waiter's like that, and he appears from this side, pokes his head out, like Mole from Wind in the Willows. Just looked at me, like, Tom Hardy, Bill Shark's hair, what a part. And his fucking hand comes through the gap, like, and it's just fucking, like, it was like, all I just remember thinking, that's like the tail of an alligator. It's just come right through the bars at me, and I'm holding his tray with goodies on, and it was like the first hurdle for me, because I have so many prejudice and preconceived ideas of, I've got to shake that, because if I don't shake that hand, his hand in this, then that's hugely disrespectful, isn't it? And part of me just didn't want to. So everybody got enough now, Okay, I'm done now. But then, that was ridiculous. So I put the tray down. They shook his hand. You know what? It was like everything just dissipated. All my prejudices disappeared. I realized I was more embarrassed about not being hard and not being like from the street or from prisons and understanding that world. Everything that I could never understand. It's like I've always had a thing about wanting to, being able to run a marathon tomorrow. If I get asked to do a marathon, I've got to be able to finish that marathon in time and win it tomorrow. When I went, I had the same thing about being in prison. With Charlie, my biggest fear was, looking stupid. Bad fear of being looking stupid. You look stupid. So when I shook his hand, it's like, it's odd. It was awkward. It was because I don't know him. And here I am, I profess to be able to play him, I'm not sure if I can. Do you know what I mean? And here I am with him in his house. You know what I mean? About to start a relationship with him proper, because I'd written to him, I spoke to him on the phone, but it really did hit me that this guy is, incarcerated, 24/7, in a shoebox in the middle of Wakefield, which is incredibly dangerous, Transformation work, cultural transformation and accent, His voice, comes from listening. I got tapes of him answer phone, talking to him. When I start to talk to somebody, if I'm going to play them, I tend to pick up the cadences and rhythms, and then eventually the voice mimics. I just mimic and copy, and I find a lot of somebody's voice and the way that they talk is a center into a character, and so the voice was essential. How he talks, his rhythms, and how he moves, physically will come from the voice, In this particular occasion, it did anyway. There's different ways to get into all kinds of characters, That's how I got to Charlie was initially because it was telephone contact through the voice and photos. So, and obviously, when you look at a photo, you got the physical transformation. This guy's massive, right? Not as big in real life, but then not as big as I thought. 6'3", again, wide as a mountain, tree trunk legs. No, 5'9". You know what I mean? My height. And he was 13 stone when he was 30, right? And he's 16 stone now. So, this is doable. I was 10.5 stone prior to initially doing the film. I just ate a lot of steak, and a lot of chicken. I've really fucked my body up, to be quite honest. It was stupid. I'm paying for that now. The problem with Charlie is I need to put on a lot of weight in 5 weeks, Shaving head is, shaved head, grow a moustache, okay? They darkened the moustache, so moustache is important not to have a fake one, So couldn't have a fake moustache, so decided that we weren't gonna go through the years with Charlie growing up and then and then him having the bald head and glasses at the end of it, or the beard, because, the beard changes, the moustaches change, so we wanted an overall look which would suit from the beginning to end, and take it away, and create a fictional Charlie Bronson, as you were. So the look was based on how he looks kind of now, but took it right back. So he's always looked like that. He's never not looked like that. And apart from when he was a little boy and he had no moustache, which it looks weird at the beginning of the film not having a moustache. So it's good. Even the baby should have a moustache. It's so important. It's like Coca-Cola, the brand, Woolworths. Well, today the moustache was really a key part of that. So I started growing a moustache, started eating a lot of chicken and chips and ice cream and, you know, like creatine, and pushing a lot of floor and pushing a lot of weights. And I put on no drugs, and I put on 2.5 stone, just on a 3 stone in 5 weeks. Right. But it was fat as well, you know what I mean? Because he's a brawler's body. I had to get the brawler's body. Working with Nick is awesome because he has very specific ways of dealing with things, which I like. I love a really strong personality, and you know, I like a director not to know where they're going and what they want to do with something. And Nick, even if he's not quite sure what he wants to do, he will have an overview of what it is going to be like anyway, and it's going to be Nick's way, no matter what. And that's really cool. That you know, like if you know, that there's some direction, a direction that we're all headed in, you know. And Nick is he's a very insightful and sensitive, brilliant, sensual sort of artist, and he loves his work, and he's an absolute anorak. And you know, when he lives, eats, breathes, doesn't sleep, film. And you know, so you know you're working with somebody. I knew I was working with somebody who was not going to rest until it was done and done properly. Mark Fish is the technical advisor on Bronson, and stalwart Bronson friend and member of the Free Bronson campaign unit, who was utterly aware that this was never going to be a Free Bronson film, but nonetheless was there to make sure that Charlie wasn't getting shafted, and stayed in the background constantly through it, and was, for me, it was so valuable to have on set at all times, because I could run things by him, run things by Charlie, get things cleared, you know. And you know, between him and Nick, these are the guys that I was working with all the time, and Kelly to get the rewrites, you know, Nick to direct me, and Mark Fish for authenticity. No, I mean, only as a kid. I'm an idiot, you know what I mean? I'm an actor, like now, but like there was a time when I was, you know, just like everybody else, an adolescent, you know, and I made, you know, of course I've been in fights. You know, I got scars and holes in me, but not like him, not like this guy, not like this guy. No, not like that guy at all. No. I was, however, kicked ruthlessly in the knackers during the cage scene. Like, and I was fighting those guys all together and painted black at the beginning. I mean, that really happened to Charlie. To me, you know, I was just reenacting it, you know. And Charlie suffered some horrific abuse. It wasn't just like I was playing him as a, you know, playing him and getting on set and being an actor. I was also, you know, heavily involved in, you know, the writing side of things. My writing partner, Kelly Marcel, came out of necessity. It just didn't work. And some scenes were from a previous draft, you know. It didn't stand up. It wasn't very interesting. It was dull. And we'd shoot stuff on set in consecutive order, you know, like Nick works, and then we'd reach a problem and say, look, this doesn't work, we need a rewrite. So it became a really exciting collaborative process. You know, so the added, you know, if you like, an added pressure, but I like to see problems as opportunities for solution, you know, like, so they make you stronger. They made me stronger anyway. But there were a lot of problems coming thick and fast, and it wasn't just like I could turn up and like put on 2.5 stone, 3 stone, grow a moustache, shave my head, change my accent, do you know what I mean? Go to work, learn the lines, and just say the lines. I was also staying up at night. You know, Nick was rewriting the script with Kelly. You know, I mean, Kelly would call me, we'd go through them, do you know what I mean? Or I'd talk Kelly before she went in with Nick, or whatever, do you know what I mean? And we're all in dialogue, even though I wasn't supposed to be talking to Kelly. You know, they brought her on so that, you know, and insisted that, you know, I stayed out of the room from that. I couldn't stay out of the room from that, you know what I mean, necessarily, because I knew too much about Charlie. And nobody else had a dialogue with Charlie. Danny Hansford, you know, Christ's sake, he's not on the floor. You know, he's not going to put it in the can. So it wasn't, you know, it was really a really exciting process, because, you know, we had a character, we had a great director, you know, we don't have a great writer until Kelly came on board. Do you know what I mean? And Nick had plans about how he wanted the film to be, so she and him had to work very tightly together. I had my own ideas because, you know, stuff just wouldn't ring true. But it's just more than a biopic about another underworld figure, etc. Because that's not fair on Charlie, and it's not fair on the audience. And it's boring. No one wants to do that. No one wants to do another fucking, you know, whatever, lads movie. You know what I mean? It's like, it's an interesting topic, and we have an opportunity here, you know. We have an opportunity here. We're all artists, we're all a bit mad, and we've got some money, so why not spend it doing what we love doing as opposed to doing some cookie cutter rubbish that no one's going to be proud of. I mean, I'm really proud of this film because it was a university in filmmaking for me, which stepped up from just being an actor. You know, I was, you know, heavily involved in it.